We've just arrived at our 26th national park, Guadalupe Mountains National Park. It is about a half hour from our campground, but it's actually in Texas, across the state line. This is one of the lesser visited national parks. It's actually the 15th least visited national park in the country. We're going to go into the visitor center and get our passport stamped as usual, and then we're going to do a hike, so come along. We just finished up at the visitor center. We went in and got our stamp, and then just as we were about to leave, one of the park rangers told us that he was going to do a talk for about 15 minutes. So we sat and listened to him. He told us all about how this area was formed and how this is actually a reef, which is pretty cool. And now we are heading out to do the Devil's Hall Trail. Ooh, spooky. It's about 3.8 miles round trip, so let's go. Or longer if Tim stops to seek every plant that we come across. Not everyone. It's nice to be the one in front, waiting for the other one for once, because normally it's the other way around. The camera can't hear you because you're so far behind.
Are you talking about me?
We did not end up doing the Devil's Hole Trail because, one, we parked almost a mile round trip away, not realizing there was a closer parking lot, and two, it was 4.2 miles round trip, and we only brought nut bars, and we also we're not staying where we're going to stay tonight. We're moving on. Boondocking has not been working out for us, so we're gonna drive about an hour and a half to a Escapees RV park, which is who does our mail, so that's cool. And it's only $23, so that's okay. But yeah, so we kind of need to get a move on. Unfortunately, we won't be able to explore as much of Guadalupe Mountains as we'd like, but we have driven over to McKittrick Canyon. The visitor center here is closed because it's only open seasonally in the fall and spring, I think it said. And we're going to do the 1 mile nature trail. So let's go.
National biodiversity. The naturalist E.O. Wilson asserted that biodiversity is the assembly of life that took 1 billion years to evolve.
We made it to the halfway point of the trail, and it was actually more difficult than I was expecting. When it said nature trail, I was expecting it to be pretty flat. It is not. It's all like loose rock, and there's about 220 feet of elevation gain. The paths are also really narrow because the plants are encroaching on them, and a lot of the plants are spiky, not gonna lie. There's a bunch of cactus, and there's another one, it's called a mimosa, but it's also called a wait a minute, or it's jokingly called a wait a minute because people get their clothes snagged on it and then they have to stop and get out. So, but yeah, it's actually, so along the way they have these signs that'll tell you about the plants that are near you, and there's actually weirdly a lot of green up here. Like we passed a couple evergreen plants, because we're higher up in elevation. I think we're at 50, so we're at 5,500 feet. So up here it's less deserty and starting to become more green. And then up there it gets even more green, but we'll not be hiking up there today. Something we learned at our talk today from the ranger is that ridge is actually a reef, and it used to be like 1,800 feet underwater. Obviously that was 200 million years ago, but it's wild to think that now it's that high, and yet it used to be so low. All of this was underwater. One other thing to note is that both Carlsbad Caverns and Guadalupe Mountains National Parks are very remote. They are 100 plus miles away from El Paso, Texas, if you're coming from the west. And that is the last place you can get gas until Carlsbad, which is, I think, 10 miles after Carlsbad Caverns. So don't be like us. Make sure you stop in El Paso and top up your gas, because our RV has, I think, 50 miles of range left. And we were getting a little nervous about if we were going to make it. But there is a Marathon gas station in a place called White's City, which is on the road to Carlsbad Caverns. They do hike up the price because they know they're the last one for 130 miles or the first one for 130 miles, depending on which way you're going. But don't want to end up stranded, because there's also not much cell service, so you wouldn't be able to call for help if you did get stranded. So fill up when you can. And this is what I was talking about with Bath encroaching. We just got back to the car after doing the McKittrick Canyon nature trail. Overall, it was a pretty good little trail. It took us just under an hour to do, but that was with a lot of stopping for seek and doing photos and videos. So All Trail says the estimated time is 31 minutes. But okay. But that's going to do it for our time in Guadalupe Mountains National Park. We're going to head back to the RV in New Mexico, pack it up, and then drive back into Texas, where we'll be staying tonight at a campground, and then we're moving on tomorrow to go three more hours, and then we're going to be staying somewhere there for, I think, 3 nights, and we're going to be exploring Big Bend National Park. So we'll pick you up in the next video.
Let's go.